and welcome back to Comfy Cozy Up. So this week I didn't do any vlogging. Pretty much I was just reading. I didn't even do a blog post, like literally just been reading. And I got back to doing yoga. So I'm doing a 21-day challenge for yoga because I need to get my body back to yoga status. I used to do yoga a lot. I was a real big time yogi, on my head top, all that good stuff. And I am so out of shape that my muscles feels like this is just strange. And so, but I'm doing it, and I've completed. By the time this video will be out, I will be on day 8th. So yeah, so I'm pushing through. So you can always follow me on that. I do have 2 Instagram. So PD_gold is where I will put all that food and workout and mental health things, and then of course my bookish and journaling and everything else is on Comfycozyup. So with that said, let's go into books that I've read, and also I've got some book mail. So I'm excited for all of that. So let's start with the book that I did complete so far, and the reason why I wanted to pick it up. Let's talk about this book first. Now, I read this book, Mary Monroe, The Upper Room. I do not like this cover, guys. I love the original cover. It was a cartoonish like photo, and I really loved it, but they changed the covers. But this was a book that I read back in 2015, and it was one of my top 10 books of the year. 5-star. Loved this book. It was when I was introduced to how Mary Monroe can write these hard storyline, but add humor to it. I find that you can laugh in the midst of it, and I think it's a cultural thing of thinking like, when it comes to a lot of African Americans, we laugh through our pain. That kind of concept in her writing style. And so I wanted to read Mama Ruby's storyline, because in this one, this is Mama Ruby, and she's very much this tough, no nonsense, with slicey, if she has to, she's gonna do whatever, that kind of deal. And there is the storyline around a child in this, and so in this they do talk a little bit about the past, but not really dig deep. And so I wanted to read her story. So Mama Ruby's story is the first book that I completed this month, and let me tell you, Mama Ruby was vicious from 8. She is the daughter of a reverend, and she has this living this lie because of, when you think of her siblings and what they are portraying to the world and to their parents, and what she herself seen and known of them doing. So there's that, not getting the right advice and not seeing a good example for her to live, and also having even people in the community. But there's also a really difficult time as well for women, in that oftentimes what they choose to survive relates to their body. Back then there was a lot of brothel. We're talking, this is set in the 30s. So there's a lot of brothels going on, and this was it was a rough time. But again, she did not get the proper guidance as a young girl to grow up to even know what it's like and to do certain things. So she was exposed to a lot of not so great things at an early age. Now, what I would say about this book that I liked is that you get to really understand where the turn of her, where she became a different person, where she no longer had that innocence, and that heartbreaking moment for her that she never quite recovered, and she never recovered from it even when you got to the Upper Room book, because this is, if you think this is going back in the past versus 4 years later. And she also in this is on her own. She left her family when she was around 15, and she's like in New Orleans, and she's going into doing all kind of crazy odd jobs to make money with her friend. And so it's 2 lost girls that's just doing the most and doing what they needed to do to survive, but also experiencing some really harsh things. And there's the idea of them not having any morals. And even when you think they might be growing and learning, and their mindset is also not that great in what they think is okay. You know, you have our friend here was just at one point popping out kids like it was candy. It was just unbelievable. You know, there's that idea that they want to be wives. They want to be home. They want to be in a house where a man is taking care of them. They don't want to be on the streets and doing these ridiculous things, or, you know, degrading things for money. And but that's still a cultural thing and a time thing, because that is a time period where to be a good woman, a good girl, you need to be married. And even if your husband's not the best, it's just the idea that you are married. I got a husband. That kind of deal. I laughed. I laugh at some moments where I probably shouldn't be laughing, but it was just such Maya Romano just knows how to be witty and clever in her writing style. And this is the kind of book that is not going to be the most moral acceptable books when you think of it, but we have to think about the time period that this book was written in. And you have to think about what women had to endure, and what they thought was okay. And so, but again, she's witty. I mean, there are moments where I'm really like laughing out loud. But I would say this is not for everybody. This is not for everybody. So if you're part of that moral brigade, don't even do it to yourself. Because there's some moments in this that you probably won't be able to get through, because she went through it in this book. So I am here for it. And so now I added to, I mean, look at the size of this and this, y'all. They're just not gonna go well on the shelf. Look. Oh. Yeah, I'm annoyed. But got that out the way. So then I decided to start the library book, the Reformatory, and it is a chunky beast. Now, when I got this book, I don't know why this is like, no, this is long. It is over 500 pages, and I did not intend to read another big book this soon. I was March, you know. But anyway, I'm pushing through. I am getting to part 5. So that would be page 273. So I am about halfway. I'm about halfway. Yeah, I'm about little under halfway. So I am going to continue this and get to the end. Now, this is a story that is historical fiction, but also horror. Some suspense in this as well. And there's some magical realism going on as well. So let me put my phone on silent. Sorry, guys. So this follows 2 young people. They're brothers and sisters. The little boy is 12, and then we have the female in this, and she is 16, I believe. And their mother recently passed away from cancer, and their father was a very ambitious man that is going to do well for the community and organize, because we are in the era of Jim Crow. So we are going through a lot of racial things happening in this town, and we have one particular man who is basically runs the town. And lo and behold, his son was smitten by the girl, and of course, being a young white man who has seen privilege, assume he can do whatever. And the 12-year-old brother, without thinking, once he intervened, decided to kick the boy. And the father saw. So, of course, being that you are powerful, how dare you kick anybody white, decided to do what he does best, bribing the town to and the kid end up in a reformatory. So this is where the story is coming from. But you can guess already, because they could not touch the father because he escaped and left because they were going to lynch him. So the story is going into two parts, where you're getting what's outside, which means the daughter, the sister, trying her best, trying everything she possibly can do to get her brother out of this reformatory. And then you get also the perspective of the brother, who's 12 and going through hell at this reformatory. But what makes this story different, because of course that racial tension narrative, we've seen it before. We've seen it in the Nickel Brothers, Nickel Boys, Colson Whitehead book. What makes this different is because it has ghosts. So there are in this, the girl is able to see things that had happened, and there's weird things happening where she can see her mother's spirit is talking to her, that kind of deal. There's things happening. Also, the boy now is at the school where boys were lost their lives, and he can see some of them. And they're talking to him, and he's like talking back. So this is where the creepy magicalism, the horror come into this play. And I don't know where it's going. It is very haunting, and it's very much, it's doing what I wish Winshout did. And when I read that book, I felt like it just didn't give me that. It just didn't do it for me. This, however, it given me thriller aspect of it, because I want to know what's going to happen next. There's side characters that's in this that I find very fascinating. There's an older woman, and there's that moment in a car where I was just like, what's going to happen with this? It is a page turner, absolutely, and I see why this showed up on a lot of people's best read book in 2024. I don't know where it's going, but I know I am going to put it down. And let me tell you why I'm putting it down. For like 2 days. Because the next book, I plan on devouring this book, because I picked up the book, and I'm so far, I don't want to put it down. So let's get into the next book. So this one is going to be finished next week, because it has to go back to the library in a week. But it's good. Really good. So the book that made me pause the Reformatory is Casualties of Truth. And this is Lauren Francis Sharman. So this is I got a copy of it early. It is a finished copy, so I'm super happy about that. And it comes out on the 10th. So I decided this is what I'm going to dive in for the weekend, because I want to read it and review it by Tuesday. What I'm going to say about this book, I'm only 10 pages in, and it's giving me a whole lot. And it's making me love this suspense. Now, if you're not familiar with the author, she really is historical fiction. She writes Caribbean characters. She is of Caribbean heritage. And so I just love her work. And I love that she does her research, whatever she's writing. And she's heavy on historical content. So this one did not go that far, but it's going back to apartheid. Time period after apartheid. So this started in 1996, and it's following a police officer when you just the first 4 pages, and something happened that was drastic, and you don't know if the person survived, you don't know who did what. And then it starts now where you are years later, 2018, and there's a couple getting ready to go to dinner to meet someone. And this is where I'm like, what? Where we go with this? And on their way there, this is happening in 10 pages. Something happened, and you're like, oh, this book is just gonna have a lot of twists. The suspense is getting me ready. It is definitely a page turner already, and I can't wait to edit this video and get back to this book and finish this book. I love that it's not that long. It is 252 pages, but it reads fast. It reads fast. Just the moments of me opening up this book and just like, oh, let me see what it's about, and I had to stop myself because I had things to do. So yeah. All right, so let's get into the book mails, things that came. The next book that we're going to talk about is 3 books that I received. So of course, that's one book. Let's go to the other books that I finally got in my hand and I'm happy about. One of the things I would say is this year I had about 10 books that I really wanted to read and were like on my, okay, I want to read it. So I took a chance. So I have some books physically now, but then I also have quite a few books that I have on my my Kindle, my advanced copies that I got. I mean, when I tell you authors I didn't think I would got approved for, so I'm excited. So there's a lot of new releases, but I have so much on my shelf that I really want to get to. But I'm gonna try, because the next 4 months is so many good books that's coming out. I have books that's coming out in March that I want to get to. And there's also books that I have on my shelf that I really want to read, because I'm having a good reading year so far, I would say. But here are the books that I did get. I did finally have my hands on Isaac's Song by Daniel Blatt. This is a follow-up to Don't Cry For Me. I have Kayla. She had no idea about these books, so she did read both, because we were intending on doing a video of talking about the books, but it's probably not going to happen because her schedule changed and it's just not going to be. But she's like, can't wait for me to get to this book. She's like, please get to this book, because she really wants to talk about it. But I haven't, but it definitely is next on my radar to read, because I do want to know what's going to happen, of what his thoughts are, and especially how much emotionally drawn I was to Don't Cry For Me. I did do a blog post on that and actual video review. So I'm definitely going to give this a go as soon as possible, because I'm excited for this. I also got the subscriber picks, if you haven't seen the video in the jar, and it's Canterville Ghost. This is Oscar Wilde. It is a short story. And it has photos in this. Oh God. I love little books like this, classics like this. So this is a classic, and this was 1887. So this was published back in 1887. So I'm gonna read this because I love that it's short and it's also a classics. I am a big fan of reading classics, so the more the merrier. And I didn't want to get this from the library at all because it's a classic, and I like to own all my classic. I'm still upset that I cannot get my hand on a good copy of My Cousin Rachel. All the ones so far, I don't like the cover. It's the movie cover. Why would I want the movie cover? Absolutely not. So I'm going to hold off on that for now, but I decided to get this because it was, and I love the cover on this. I don't know how it's going to show up, but look at this here. This is such a creepy cover, but I'm here for it. And then of course, Harlem Rhapsody. So this is Victoria Christopher Murray. I think I've read, she has quite a long catalog, this author. And I don't remember all the books that I've read from her, but she doesn't have them listed in here. You know, sometimes they will listed, have a list of all their books that they've published. But she doesn't have any of that in here. That's a shame. This is unfortunate, but she's been around for a minute. She's one of those authors that have been around for a long time. But anyway, so this is, you know, the infamous book that is talking about Jessie Fawcett Redmond's, you know, classic Miss Harlem Renaissance. So I'm looking forward to this, and I think I only have one book from the woman inspired this that I have not read yet. So maybe if I read her book, her last book that I haven't read, because I think she only published, she did not have that many books published. And so I am going to read and then read this one. And you know, and it doesn't matter what's in this. I'm just going to be laughing because I'm pretty sure a lot of what scandalous stuff I'm fully aware of. But it's nice to see what's going to be her take and how she tells that story of you know, some infidelity things happening and all that stuff. So I'm here for it. As far as crafting, you know, since my serger is back in commission, I decided to, so you can see my serger was working. I decided to work on some basics. So I got some basics. I do need to hem the bottom of this one, but I didn't feel like it during the week. I think of the weekend I'm gonna do that. And this one is a raw bottom, that we should always keep this way because of the fabric. And then I made this turtleneck, which I love. And again, these were easy, less than 2 hours to do both of these. And so what I want to also work on next is make another one of these pants. I have quite a few of these pants for different color. They're just perfect for work and everything. So I'm going to use this fabric, and this fabric is still perfect for this weather. But even though it is wool blend, I still wear leggings under my pants in the winter time because I don't do cold at all. And that is it, guys. That is yeah, that is all the things that I want to talk about in this video. And let me know, what are you guys reading? What are you currently reading? And have you read any of these books I'm talking about? Let me know, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video. I'm excited because this book, so good so far. All right, guys, see you in the next one. Bye.